Welcome to Duo Chat with Brittany and Cynthia, where we talk about drama shows from shows ranging from the 90s to today.
Hi everyone, I'm Brittany,
And I'm Cynthia.
and today we're talking about season 5, episode 4, The Long Goodbye, air date October 31st, 2001, and the synopsis is
After Mitch suddenly dies in a car accident, Dawson has to handle the funeral arrangements alone. Gail, unlike Dawson, is not holding up very well. Everybody, including Joey, Jen, Jack, Pacey, and even Grams, try to comfort Dawson in their own way, and Dawson starts to blame himself for his father's death.
um so it starts with like a couple running to the restaurant. It looks like
Oh, yeah.
they want to go eat or something. I don't
Yeah, at
know.
the Larry restaurant.
Yeah, and of course it's closed and the sign
Mm-hmm.
says closed, death in the family.
Right.
Um, I mean, I wonder what people's feelings were watching it back in 2001. You know what I
Because
mean?
it was
Like,
so unexpected.
well, I mean, they had to wait a whole week,
Yeah, that too,
you
yeah.
know, and then there's the sign and it's
Like it
like,
made official.
well, and yeah, and it was definitely official because like, you know, on shows, someone can go in a have a car accident and the next episode, they're perfectly fine.
Mm-hmm.
Or they're in the hospital, but they recover.
Right.
So I wonder if people back in 2001 when they watched this, that they were like, wait, he'll survive. Because, I mean,
Right.
everyone normally survives.
Mm-hmm.
Or, and then when you watch this episode, it's like, what? That was true and real.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying, TV,
Yeah.
TV plays some things. I mean, yeah, in real life, yeah, this, definitely, the person would probably be, they would have died. But in TV land, it's a different story. So I just wonder what people probably thought back then.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, and the fact,
they were probably too hoping that Mitch was alive. Because I mean, I don't want to. Okay, here's the thing. I don't want to go on without Mitch either. Like this, do you? I mean, what's the show
no.
without like Mitch and Gail? I mean, as much as they
Mm-hmm.
annoyed me with their marital problems, it was so nice to see them on screen.
Mm-hmm.
And we get the one episode with Mitch last episode, and then he's gone. I mean, you know what
Right.
I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to watch a show without him.
Yeah, and he was the best parent on the show too.
I know, because Gail somewhat was, but she's got the cheating going on. But, I know he was the one that had the clear vision, the right things to say. I mean, and let Dawson do what he wanted. Like, I mean, you
Mm-hmm.
can't get any better than Mitch Leary.
Right.
So how do you go on without him?
I don't know.
I mean, seriously, how do you kill off the best character on the show?
I don't know. Do you have you did you like was there was it the writer's decision or was it the actors to leave the show? Because that could be the case too.
Mm.
Yeah, I wonder if I could find that online. But it is interesting that this episode ended up airing on Halloween.
Was it your Halloween? Like a shocker for you?
Yeah. Um, because like the last Halloween episode we had was just in season one, and now this year it's just really, really sad.
Right. What was the last Halloween one?
The one where Dawson was pranking everybody at his house,
Oh
and
yeah.
then everybody got back at him.
Yeah, this is a tough one. Don't you
Okay.
agree?
Yeah. So I did just look it up, and it did say that John Wesley Shipp, who played Mitch, did decide to leave. He said that he didn't believe that the adult characters were getting enough interesting storylines. Which makes sense because all the kids are not even in Cape Side anymore. But yeah.
Well, he has a point. The
Mm-hmm.
4 seasons, what really happened with Mitch and Gail's storylines?
Mm-hmm.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like they didn't have, okay, like other shows, even teen dramas, the parents that are on the show, they try to give them their own storylines. And this one just didn't do it. It was like, oh, remember? The only thing they ever thought of was, oh, let's just get them divorced. And like nobody wants to see that for that many years. And it played
Mm-hmm.
out for so long. And it's
Yeah.
like you and remember I kept saying there's nothing else for them to do? Come on now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like think outside of the box and give them different things to do because nobody wants to watch that.
Right.
And I'm sure neither one of them probably wanted to portray that because for that long. You know what I mean? Because that was just too
Mm-hmm.
long. And yeah, I mean, I agree with that. They didn't have much to do. Then they gave them a restaurant, but again, we didn't really see them that much at the restaurant.
Right.
I mean, they opened it in what,
Yeah.
the end of season three?
Maybe I don't
So
remember.
we had one season with it and we barely saw them in it.
Mm-hmm.
Like they could have given them so many storylines, but they didn't.
Yeah, the person we saw the most there was Gretchen, and she was working
Right.
there.
Right. And that
Mm-hmm.
was it.
Yeah.
And she was barely working there, it seemed like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why the writers decided to go this way, as in not giving people what they deserve, which was storylines.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, think about how many storylines has Jack really had in season five?
Not many.
I
Just
mean,
the frat brothers.
that's what I mean. It's like even season five is starting to turn because people just aren't getting what they should be getting
Mm-hmm.
for storylines. And it's hard because everyone has their own favorite character. And when you don't, give fans what they want, people turn the show off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think the show's starting to turn. Remember, I told you I hated season five. I've said it. And this is why. Like Mitch and Gail aren't there. The show is turning into a different show.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not what it used to be. I mean, I didn't like it to begin with, but the little bit
Yeah.
I did like, it's changed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then one of the showrunners of the last two seasons, Tom Capnos, says that he did regret killing Mitch off. But yeah, I just really don't see how they could even continue with anybody in Cape Side because we don't see Bess anymore, of course, and I don't think we'll see Gail after this. I don't know. I mean, we will for a little bit, but I mean, like after I guess the grieving process is over with in the show, Dawson might go to California, Boston. I don't know. But then after that, I feel like we won't see Gail anymore after that. Or Lily,
I'm just
unless
trying to
you
think
remember it
of,
different.
no, I'm thinking of other shows
Oh.
that, I mean, I know one show that I'm not going to say what it is, but they kind of did like a college storyline, but then they would come back home and do like whatever was happening at home.
Mm-hmm.
And they did it to keep the adults in the storylines. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it was nice because if you didn't want to watch the college storyline, you could watch the home life,
Yeah.
and that was because remember I told you I'm tired of watching Joey at college.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing is you could have given Mitch and Gail things to do in Cape Side because maybe I don't want to sit here for, 42 minutes watching Joey at college. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
and Jack partying with the guys. Like I don't want to watch that. I want to watch the adult storylines. And there are none. Grams is the only one left. And guess what? She doesn't have any.
Yeah.
Ooh, she's cooking dinner for the kids for one scene. I mean, really,
Mm-hmm.
that's all you've got?
Yeah.
I mean, come on now. Like, I don't get it with the writers. I would not have written it this way. I would have definitely given everyone different things to do, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Because again, especially if you want to draw different generations, not everyone is going to watch College Life.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna different, like your parents are gonna want to watch their generation. Kids are going to want to watch that. There's just different things. And I feel like that's what the show's missing is the generation,
Mm-hmm.
like the different generations. They're only focusing on one.
Right.
When you think of other shows, they give you other things
Mm-hmm.
and it's entertaining, especially because like we're older now. I want to see the adults.
Hmm.
I don't want to see the kids in college. And that's what you're going to focus on?
Yep.
It's like screw. And then we got to go through the whole season 5 and 6 of college. Oh God. It's like we already know what they do. Give us something else.
Hmm.
This is why they should have split it up 50-50.
Yeah. We
You
still don't
know,
know. Yeah, we still don't know what Joey, Jen, and Jack's majors are either. We could get
I don't
into
think,
that,
I'm gonna be honest. I don't even remember.
right?
It's
Because
bad.
obviously Joey's not art. It seems to be writing somehow. I don't know, English major, literature. I don't know.
Well, I do know what Jack ends up doing, but Jen, I don't know what her
Mm.
major is. I don't,
Right.
but I also don't see her in college.
Hmm.
I have not seen her on that campus yet.
Right.
Are we ever going to see her on campus? That's a big question.
Yeah.
So yeah, season 5's already going downhill when you kill Mitch off.
Hmm.
I mean, I wonder if people like hate season 5 and then especially throwing this in here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I'm
Maybe.
not liking it. I didn't like it because they threw Pacey and Joey as just friends and they made a mockery of their love story.
Hmm.
But then you throw Mitch's death in there and it's not what it was. Like, I actually liked watching Mitch on screen
Yeah.
because when you had like Dumbo Dawson, it was nice to see Mitch being like the reasonable one. Um, so was it weird to see Dawson going to the funeral home to pick out caskets?
Yeah. By himself. Yeah.
Yeah, like his mom wasn't there. I don't
Hmm.
know. And we don't see Mitch's parents. I mean, are they gone too?
Yeah. They mentioned his dad like way way before when the cheating was going on. Um, just the way uh, Mitch was talking about him, you can tell that he had passed on because he was
Mm.
telling Dawson what what his dad taught him. And that's when he got upset because he said that he never thought he would have to ask his dad what to do when your wife cheats on you. So
Mm. Well, I guess his mom's gone too.
yeah, and I think that's the grandfather Dawson meant when he was talking to Gretchen about death in the family or near him. He said his grandfather died when he was a baby, so I think that was maybe Mitch's father. I want
Mm.
to guess because Gail's has been nowhere to be found. So,
Um, so yeah, I thought that was weird that he was picking up caskets. I mean, and then we actually saw like all the caskets. I was like, okay.
hmm.
Um, and then Joey goes to the boat to tell Pacey.
Right.
I thought that was a little weird what she said.
What did she say again?
She said, um, Joey said, it's Mitch. He's dead. I was
Oh, yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Hmm.
whoa, whoa, whoa. That was weird.
Yeah, she could have
I was
said it
like,
better than that.
why did she say he's dead? Like she couldn't say Mitch died. I was
Right.
like,
Or passed away.
died? Yeah, I was like,
Hmm.
dead? That's like one of
Right.
the worst. Like, I don't know. I didn't
Words, yeah,
like
you can
it
use.
came off really bad, especially because like, we love him so much. Like,
Hmm.
that's not, and especially with someone you love, you don't say he's dead.
Right.
Like dead? But
Hmm.
that's the word you used. Come
Right.
on. Yes, I mean the writing. Come on now, you used dead, not passed away, not died. He's
Hmm.
dead.
Yeah,
I was mad at that.
me too.
Um, and then, Pacey was like, what? And everything. And then he asked if he should go, as in, because he'll be seeing Dawson. And Joey was like, well, what if it was, Mr. Witter? I was like, yeah, well,
Mm.
was Pacey show up if it was Mr. Witter that passed?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, but that threw me off. I was like, it got to be cute between the two of them, but it just threw me off because you don't use that word.
Right.
Um, and then Jen was having trouble because she didn't know what to say to Dawson.
Hmm.
And so she was telling Jack about that, like that she was kind of like worried to see Dawson because she didn't know what to say to him.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then he brings up um Tim
Right. Yep.
and stuff, which was nice
Mm-hmm.
because again, we know he has a brother that passed.
Yeah.
Um, and it's nice that the writers remembered that too.
Mm-hmm.
And did you see that they're at the bed and breakfast?
Oh no, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, everyone is staying at the bed and breakfast.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Well, they have no home. Jen made Graham sell the home.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they'd all be there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then Gail was laying in bed and everything. And okay, so this kind of threw me off because like the Kleenexes, were on the bed that she
Mm-hmm.
quote used.
Yeah.
Dawson just comes in and picks the tissues up as if they've never been used. And I was like, because it wasn't like picking them
Yeah.
up, like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
there's stuff on the Kleenex. No, he just picks them up and I'm like, ew. Like
Mm-hmm.
there was nothing gross on your face, so this is gross. And then he didn't even wash his hands after. I was like, use some hand sanitizer. That threw me off. I was like, come on, no. You wouldn't just be like, just picking it up like as if well, we know they're not used,
Mm-hmm.
but at least act like they've been used.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that threw me off.
Yeah. I just saw it as Dawson having to do things for her because she can't. So.
I know Dawson is actually finally putting someone else first.
Mm-hmm.
That's a first in his lifetime. Um, and then Dawson, I guess he's dreaming of Mitch because
Mm.
Mitch shows up and he's talking to Mitch about, oh, I want a girlfriend.
Yeah.
It was just so odd. It was just so weird.
Yeah. It was Dawson, Joey, and Pacey who had these. I just called it like thought of them as flashbacks, like memories they were going through. It was like really clear, vivid ones, as if they happened yesterday. But yeah, it was like their way of grieving his passing.
Did you notice too that like when it came to like Dawson and Joey, I heard like them try to talk like younger kids. I don't know, the way
I don't
Dawson was
know.
taught, I don't know, the way Dawson was talking, it was like, I want a girlfriend. And then it was like something else. And I was like, why are you trying to act like you're, it was just weird. And then Joey kind of said the same thing when she was talking to Mitch. And I was like, ew. Like, it's just weird to see grown people try to talk like kids. I'm sorry. It was just
Yeah,
weird.
I think it was given the impression that they were having memories a long time ago.
I know, but
I
it
feel like
was
they could,
weird.
yeah, they could have. I feel like they could have just got, at least for Dawson and Joey's like younger actors to play their younger
That's
selves.
what
Like,
I mean. Like, why
hmm
couldn't they just use little kids? If you want to use them as kids, why couldn't you find those two actors that were in the video
yeah,
and put them back as Dawson and Joey and who actually have kid voices instead of making
hmm
the two of them sound like kids? Come on now.
yeah, because didn't Mitch walk through Dawson's bedroom door, or was it, or he was standing there or something?
He was just standing there in the bedroom.
Because I say like Dawson was on the bed, the camera could have like gone from Dawson to Mitch, and then when it went back to Dawson, it would have been the
Like it
kid
was a kid.
version.
Yeah.
Yeah. hmm Yeah,
I
that
didn't
that
get
would have been
it.
better. hmm
Yeah. And it could have been the same thing with Joey. She's
hmm
looking at the house and then
Yeah.
it pans to Mitch with the ladder and then
Ladder.
and then it pans back to her as a kid and he's worried about her. Like
Yeah.
it's just weird. Like I didn't like it at all.
hmm
Well,
Yeah.
I
So.
just didn't like the kid voices and it didn't match to the fact that like you said, they should have used kids.
hmm
Like if you're gonna make them scenes with them being kids, put them as when they were little. Everybody will know that that's Dawson and that's Joey.
Yeah. So Pacey's was
Nobody's,
the only.
yeah, nobody's gonna say, who's that little boy?
Yeah.
If you use a little blonde head boy, you're gonna know it's Dawson.
Yeah. So Pacey's was the only one that made sense because it was about 16 when he was driving, or
Yeah.
maybe a little bit younger too. But it was kind of so random that Mitch was trying to teach Pacey how to drive because before that, it just seemed like Pacey had been driving by himself for the longest time. Like he taught himself, was stealing the cars and everything.
You're jumping ahead.
Yeah, I'm just because we're talking about the flashback. So
Well, I mean, did you get anything out of the whole Mitch and Dawson scene?
no, I guess it's just his way of processing.
I
That's all I
just didn't
saw it
really,
as.
I just didn't really get anything out of it. And then um Mitch bought him something for his film. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, I don't remember.
And I was like, huh, what is that? Something to make, his stories on. I don't know.
Mm.
And then Joey comes in and then it gets a little weird because then Dawson was like, "Oh, I gotta go and everything. Can you watch Lily?" And she said, "Oh, is that what you're wearing? It's nice." And he said, "No, it's what my dad is wearing." That's what I
Right.
mean. Then it just got weird.
Yeah.
Um, and then we're to the funeral.
Hmm.
I did like how it was shot. We got to see everybody's reactions and stuff.
Yeah.
And did you see Graham's had baby Lily
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
and Lily just screaming her head off?
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I thought that was nice.
Hmm.
Um, oh, and so we get to Dawson's house, the Leary house, and everybody's at the Leary house.
Hmm.
I mean, did you like that?
Well, it made sense. They're trying to comfort Dawson and Gail during this time.
I know, but everyone's at your house. Like you can't kick them out.
Yeah, well, it's usually what they do after funerals. They
Nope.
hang around
Well,
for a
none
bit.
that I went to.
Mm.
See, like when it was like my family, grandparents and stuff, like
Mhm.
we always had a brunch at like a hall
Mhm.
so that you only reserve for a couple hours and then everybody comes, eats, annoys you, because all you want to do is be left alone.
Mhm.
And everyone's like talking about memories and you're like, try not to cry and you got to keep it together. And then but then you get to leave at like noon. You're like, thank God.
Mhm.
You can go home and do what you want and not have to keep everybody all day. This seemed like an all day thing. I was like, is anybody planning on leaving at some point? I mean, they want to be by themselves at some point. I mean, this is irritating. It was bothering me. How long did this go on for after the funeral?
I don't
It
know.
seemed like all day.
Mhm.
I was like, and the problem is Dawson and Gail can't say get out because it'd be rude.
Mhm.
That's why I'm like, I would not want people in my house. I'd be like, after the funeral, bye. Like, I'm
Mhm.
going home. No one's following me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
I think that's why, like, we always probably had them at halls so that we can go home and not deal with people following us home.
Mhm.
You know, like, yeah, we would
Yeah.
still, as a family, be together, but we didn't have all the extra people there,
Mhm.
which, you know, you don't want random people coming up to you and talking to you. It's
Right.
not, well, at least not what I wanted. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
that's nice. I'll put a fake smile or whatever. Like, because you don't want people to see that you're in pain, like Dawson. So I
Mhm.
get that part of like, just hold it together. Because again, it's like if you lose it, you won't stop crying.
Right.
And then you don't want people like worrying about you. So you're like, I'll just keep it together for this, put an act on, and then you can cry when you're alone.
Mhm.
Like I got that feeling from, I understood that Dawson when it came to that.
Yeah. Me too.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was just like, but I didn't like everyone at the house. I was like, at some point, okay, it should have been till like 2 o'clock or something. Then everyone has to go home. Like,
Mhm.
was everybody there like all day?
Right.
That's what bothered me was like nobody had the respect to leave.
And then at the end of the funeral, wasn't that when Dawson picked up the answer machine and destroyed it because the tape was playing of Mitch?
Well, it was at some point during the part or you'll call it a party. That's why I said that. But yeah, well, because that lady came up and said, "Oh, I know your mom or something." I don't know, they went to college together or something.
Mhm.
And he didn't really know her. He didn't want to talk to her. You could tell that. Like, if somebody was doing that to me, I'd be like, okay, I'll respect your space. But this lady was not respecting Dawson's space. And then, so that was making him mad. And then on top of it, then he hears the answer machine and it's his dad. And, and then that's when he rips it
Yeah.
from, well, or unplugs it and rips it and breaks it. I don't know what he was doing, but I was just like, and then he was all, I'm fine. And I'm like, I don't think
Mm-hmm.
you're fine. But
Right.
I mean, and that proved that you're not fine.
Mm-hmm.
But again, why is everyone there? Do you know what also bothers me?
What?
When someone dies and everybody's like their little ants just like trying to like get to you. And it's like, get away from me. I don't want to talk to any of you people. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, they're just trying to give their condolences,
I
though.
know, but keep your space. But some
Mm-hmm.
of these people were really annoying. That's why Dawson was actually funny because Grams comes up to Dawson and was like, I'll take Lily. And he was like, no, she's a good buffer.
Yeah.
I thought that was funny because he knew
Mm-hmm.
that people wouldn't be too attached to him if he had Lily.
Yeah.
I was like, there you go, keep your sister around you.
Mm-hmm.
And so at the at home at the Leary house, Gail is in a room. She had it smart. She didn't want to talk to anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and Dawson is at the fridge. And remember how Jen said she didn't know what to say to Dawson?
Yeah.
Yeah, she still doesn't. Um, then he brought up, trying to make a joke. I'm just thinking orange juice or wine.
Mm-hmm.
And then they get talking about, then they get into like the drugs.
Right.
And I was like, all right, this turn. But
Mm-hmm.
Jen's got to throw something like that in there.
Yeah.
But I was happy that she was being funny just because this episode needed like somebody to lift up the show.
Mm-hmm.
Because it seemed like every episode, or not every episode, every scene was very like, oh my God, so down.
Yeah.
So I was happy Jen brought it back.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I mean, Jen said if it was about a girl, she could give advice because she didn't know what to say. Because she even told Dawson that, like, I didn't lose anyone but my grandpa, and that was a long time coming. So,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what you're going through. But it
Yeah.
was cute when she said, I'm just gonna give you a hug. And he was
Mm-hmm.
like, okay. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, see, that was cute. Maybe Joey should have. But when that happened, I was like, oh, I know who's gonna get jealous. Her name's Joey.
I didn't think of that.
I did. I was like, oh, if Joey walked her in right now, it'd get ugly. Well, because Joey keeps trying and trying and trying too damn hard to help him. And Jen just did it so natural.
Mm-hmm.
But it's because he doesn't want clingy Joey around. He just wants to be left alone. And he keeps saying it, but she's not getting it. Like she was irritating. Um, so then Joey goes to annoy someone else, Gail.
Well, I think she
Um,
helped her.
I know it was a joke.
Oh, okay.
I was joking. She was truly annoying Dawson, but yes, she did go and talk to Gail. And they, it was weird because Gail goes, this is when I said it. Gail said, how's the party? I'm like, what? This isn't a party.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a gathering for your husband's funeral. This is
Mm-hmm.
not a party.
Yeah.
And so that threw me off. And then they talk about Dawson and how he's keeping it together. And then Joey brings up Mitch and how, you know, there's something special with the two of them and how Mitch really did love Gail. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we know that he took the woman back
Yeah.
after she cheated. So we know he loves her.
Mm-hmm.
That was obvious.
Yeah.
Well, because how many guys would just take her
I know.
back?
Yeah, Pacey did it with Andy, so.
Right. So it's like, well, no, because he was real with that one. It was like, nope, I'm not gonna. Because in the back of your mind, it's gonna be, are they gonna cheat again?
Mm-hmm.
So, but Mitch took her back.
Yep.
Um, So yeah, I do think Joey did help because Gail hasn't really spoken up to this point in this episode. She has not really spoken
Yeah.
to anyone.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that she's actually I mean, she didn't even talk to Dawson. All she's doing is laying around, because
Mm-hmm.
she's, missing Mitch. So it's like Joey was like the one person she actually opened up to.
Right.
Okay. And then a good scene. Pacey goes and talks to Dawson.
Mm-hmm.
Weren't they outside? Yeah, it was cute.
Yeah.
Um,
Front
because
porch.
again, we don't see these two. So it's like, oh, it just made my heart so happy. Um, and then he asked him about Pacey asked him about school, and then he said that he dropped out. Um, and then they talk about Mitch finding them smoking when how old were they?
I don't know. I don't remember.
I just know they were like kids.
Mm-hmm.
And then Pacey, of course, was like, if it was my dad, I'd still be smoking just to piss him off.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, of course you would.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay, did you like that scene between the two of them?
Yeah, it was nice.
Well, it's like
This
we
is
were finally getting like season one Pacey and Dawson.
mm-hmm.
It was nice to see. Like they weren't fighting.
Yeah.
And then Pacey hugs Dawson, and Dawson's just like, get away from me. Like it was the look on his face is like, why are you hugging me?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, Dawson, I read that. He didn't see it, but I did.
Yeah.
Um, and then yeah, then after that, then that's when Dawson does that to the answer machine.
Mm-hmm.
So then I guess Dawson ran out after that. Because then Joey goes to Dawson, who is on the dock.
Mm-hmm.
And she tries to help him by talking about finding a grocery list months after her mom passed
Mm-hmm.
and how she lost it. And then Dawson was like, well, I can't lose it,
Right.
because of my mom. And then he tells her that he blames himself for Mitch's death.
I know. I was surprised about that.
Yeah, but honestly, when he said it, I was like, that kind of makes sense. No, like why you would blame yourself.
Yeah.
I was like, I get it because he said if he didn't come home, his mom wouldn't have made breakfast for him, and
Mm-hmm.
Mitch wouldn't have went out to get milk. But didn't Mitch leave before,
Af-
or didn't I mean
After? Oh,
didn't
before. Mm-hmm.
Dawson leave before Mitch got the milk?
Yeah. Pretty sure he
So
did.
so does he mean like he drank all the milk, so then Mitch had to go get more, or
Yeah, I
what?
think. Yeah, I think that's what it was. Yeah.
Okay, because I was like, wait a minute. Your dad went and got milk after you left. Because he
Mm-hmm.
talks about his mom making breakfast. And I was like, huh? She made you breakfast before you left, but your dad went out after you left.
Right.
But yeah, so that kind of threw me off. But I understood it because I was like, I get why he blames himself. And then, of course, I knew as soon as Mitch said it that he's disappointed in Dawson. I knew, even though he said, I love you, he said, I knew that Dawson would only remember the he's disappointed in you. Like,
Yeah.
I knew it. I was like, even though Mitch said, I love you, I know it's
Mm-hmm.
not going to register to Dawson.
Yeah.
And here it is, because he says, the last thing my dad said to me was he's disappointed. And Joey goes, but like you also said that he said, I love you.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, well, I don't doubt, I'll never doubt that my dad, you know, loved me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh my God, Dawson. And then he goes, but, to have your dad say he's disappointed in you and that's the last thing he says, I was like, yeah, that's true. You know, I don't think anybody wants their parent to say that.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of the last things. It's not the last
Yeah.
thing he said, but it's one of the last things.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, no, I get that, Dawson. I don't
Yeah.
think Joey gets it because she had this great relationship with her mom. It seems like that she didn't have this.
Yeah.
I think she'd understand if it happened to her father
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
because they don't have that good relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then oh, so then well, Dawson did say he was selfish or whatever, um, because his dad should have been driving him to the airport, not to
Mm,
his death.
right.
It's like, ooh. And I will say, like, when it comes to like accidents, isn't it like always like in your head of like, if only they would have been a little like, if only they were like a couple seconds behind
Mm-hmm.
or, ahead, this
Yeah.
wouldn't have happened.
Right.
Like if he would have been slower walking to his car with the groceries
Mm-hmm.
or whatever, like this would not have happened. Like,
Yeah.
isn't it like in your head of like those couple seconds changed everything? And if
Mm-hmm.
he would have just been, a couple steps behind, this accident wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, that's got to be going through all their heads
Right. Yeah.
of like, you know, why, and if only, it's the if only questions that I feel like haunt you for the rest of your life,
Mm-hmm.
you know, especially when it's an
Yeah.
accident. Like
Mm-hmm.
if it's an illness, it's like, yes, you can say if only they weren't sick,
Mm-hmm.
like Jen's grandpa, but you still are prepared a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Like no one's ever prepared for death, but um I feel like an accident because it's so sudden and it's a shock. It's like, but, what if?
Mm-hmm.
Like Dawson said, what if he would have went to the airport? He definitely wouldn't have
Yeah.
been on the same road, probably,
Right.
and he probably would have left before or after this accident to drive him to the airport. So it's like, I, I get that,
Yeah.
all those, and Dawson's playing the what if game by saying that,
Mm-hmm.
what if I wasn't selfish? He would have been taking me to the airport.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I get that.
Yeah.
And it's so understandable.
Mm-hmm.
And then Grams talks to Gail about love and being a widow. And then it was weird because she was kept calling her a widow. It's like because she was like, "Welcome to the widow club" or something. I was like, "Huh?"
Mm-hmm.
I was like, "This is weird." I was like,
I mean,
and
that's
and I
that.
will say that when Graham said it to her, I was like, "Ugh, thinking of Gail as a widow. Like, I don't want to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I didn't like hearing those words because it was like real.
Yeah. She's too young.
Hmm. And she's got a baby.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think of that scene between Grams and Gail?
Well, it was nice. So, that Gail could have someone to lean on during this time, and it did. Like Graham said, she says she still wishes that she lived next door, and I did too. So, Gail had someone near her too as well, because it's not. Well, right now it's her, Dawson, Lily in the house, but once Dawson goes, it's only gonna be her and Lily, and Lily's a baby, so she can't really even talk to her. So,
Right. I mean, if Jen wasn't so selfish, Grams would still be living next door and they'd
mm-hmm.
all have a place to stay right now
Yep.
besides the bed and breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
Um and and then and Dawson would be able to go to California or Boston or wherever because he would be able to call Grams and say, "Hey, can you check in on my mom once in a while?"
Mm-hmm.
Which I think Grams would do anyway. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's like, see, here we go. If Jen wasn't so selfish, Dawson wouldn't have to worry that much.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because Grams
Yeah.
would be there to take care of Lily, cook meals for Gail, watch
Mm-hmm.
over Gail,
Yeah.
let Dawson have his life. But no, Jen took that away because she needs her grandma. But how much is she even spending time with Grams right now? She's with
I
Charlie
know.
all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, did she really think that she would go to college and she would just come home every day at whatever time from her class and spend the rest of the day with Grams? Really?
I know.
I mean, come on. Now she's in college. She's never home.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, she's out with her friends. She is out with boys. Like, Jen, you have no time for Grams. Why did you make poor Grams sell her home and now she has no friends?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And she only sees the kids once a week. She's so selfish. See? I can't get over how selfish she is. And then here's a time in need when Grams needs to have her home right now.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you wonder who moved in?
Yeah.
Like, is it like a little, is it a family of like little kids? Is it an older couple? Like, who moved
Mm-hmm.
in next door? I want to
Yeah.
know.
Me too.
Um, well, I mean, does Lily have a new friend? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, is it
Yeah.
a little kid? I mean, come on, I need to know these things.
Yeah.
You could have do a whole new show with Lily. Um, so Joey then goes to tell Dawson that everyone's leaving. At this point, everybody had left besides the cast. There was
Oh, yeah.
remember all the cars were leaving and the house was empty besides the cast. I was like, what do you mean
Mm-hmm.
everyone is leaving? You mean all the extras?
Right.
You're right, they already left.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then she tells him that she'll stay and delay going back to school. And he was like, I just want
Oh,
to be left alone. And I was like,
yeah, I know. Yeah.
this made me laugh because I was like, Joey, go away.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, then Dawson doesn't want, like, okay, then it will be, oh, she's, has to drop out of college because she is failing all her classes and it's all because of Dawson. Like, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like, come on now, you go away, Joey. Like, he doesn't
Right.
want you.
Yeah.
But I was happy when he said, I just want to be left alone.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I know she's too clingy. Just get her to go
Yeah.
away.
Yeah. She was going too far.
And then she's like, well, call me if you need me. It's like, come on now, go away. He's got his mom. Go away. Um, And he had all day with strangers and people like talking to him. I'd want to be
Mhm.
alone too.
Yeah.
Does she not understand that? Like, she bothers me. Um,
I guess it was just different with her mom when she passed.
well, yeah, the problem is when her mom died, she just wanted Dawson all to herself all day, every day. Well, Dawson isn't you. He wants to be left alone.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody grieves like you did. You wanted Dawson right there. Well, guess what? He didn't want you right there.
Mm-hmm.
But I honestly like grieve with Dawson away from everybody. What about you? Are you like Dawson or are you like Joey?
Um, I don't know. I just kept things to myself after my dad passed.
So you're like Dawson, like just leave me alone.
Well, no, I necessarily didn't want to be alone. I just kind of ended up being so.
Mm.
I didn't really have anyone to talk to, so
Well, would Joey have annoyed you
maybe after so many times, yeah.
of you saying like I just need space and she won't give it to you?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, if only Joey ever realized how annoying she is.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and how she always turns everything about herself. It bothers me. So then Pacey is also at the bed and breakfast.
Right.
And he tells Joey that he's never seen the B&B this full. I thought it was the best in the state.
I know it's how it was when they were still in high school and together as a
Season
couple.
4, remember? Season
Mm-hmm.
4, it's the best in the state.
Yeah.
Lies.
Mm-hmm.
All I hear is lies because now he's never seen it this full. He dated the girl. He was there
Mm-hmm.
all the time. What do you mean it's never been this full?
I know.
Come on now. And don't you think that they also canceled people's trips so that all the cast could be in the bed and breakfast? Do you know what I mean? Like Pacey's there, Joey's home, Graham's is there, Jen and Jack are there. Like all the rooms are full.
Mm-hmm.
It's only them.
Yeah.
Like I don't think there's other people because the house does not hold that many people. So it's like but the rooms are full. What does he mean he's never seen it that full? Like it bothered me. I was like, well, I'm so questioning this show.
Mm-hmm.
I can't with that statement. I was like, it's just you people. What do you mean it's never been this full?
Yeah, I guess they must have gave people refunds on their bookings so they could have their rooms open for them at the last minute.
Yeah. But Cynthia, he
Hmm.
said it's never been this full. It's
Yeah, I
only
know.
them. What is he
Hmm.
talking about?
I know.
And what does he mean it's never been this full? When they had Mr. Whatever his name was, weren't the rooms full because the whole cast was there to act like they stayed at the bed and breakfast?
Hmm. Yep.
Wasn't it full then when the whole cast was there?
Yeah.
I don't understand the statement at all. It irritates me. And then he sits outside with her, and um, they're just so cute. Um, but then it's brought up that Dawson, dropped out, and Pacey can't understand why. And then, of course, Joey kind of like looks at him, and he's like, "Oh," he smiles. "Oh, now I understand." I'm like, Pacey, oh my God.
Mm.
And then he's like, "Oh, I'm not here to like judge and stuff."
Right.
Um, and then Joey though tells him that Dawson blames himself.
Hmm.
And he goes, "Why?"
Yeah.
Um, and so that, but I did think their little scene was cute.
Hmm.
And Pacey always looks so cute. I just thought I'd throw that in there. And then Gail has her memory of Mitch putting Dawson's crib together because she's in
Yeah.
Lily's
Hmm.
room. She's in Lily's
Yep.
room, but she is remembering Mitch
Yep.
putting Dawson's together.
Yeah. So yeah, that was for Dawson. Yep.
Um, because they're like, "Oh, what do you think he's gonna be?" And then Mitch hoped for a freak.
Yeah. That was kind
He
of
said,
some.
"Well, he said freaks don't peak in high school."
Yeah.
I was like, "That's why you want him to be a freak?" Oh my God.
Hmm.
Yeah, I was like, Mitch had me going at that point.
Hmm.
And then Gail goes, "Well, let's hope for a freak."
Hmm.
Well, Dawson kind of became one, didn't he?
Yeah.
In his own way.
Hmm.
Well, he didn't exactly peak in high school, which is what Mitch wanted.
Hmm.
And then Dawson walks in, and Dawson and Gail are watching over Lily. And then Gail starts to cry and everything because Lily's not going to know him. And Dawson said, "She'll know him
Yeah.
because of me. Like, and I'm like, well, of course he's going to.
Hmm.
What are you going to do? Just be like, Dad never existed. Like, of course, as Lily grows up, like, Dawson's going to, say, Dad did this. And I'm sure Dawson will now try to fill that void for Lily.
Hmm.
Like, I'm sure Mitch taught Dawson how to ride a bike.
Hmm.
So I'm sure when it comes time for Lily, Dawson will want to be that person.
Yeah. I think he just said that to reassure Gail, so she won't feel that bad.
No, but knowing Dawson, I do think he will keep that
Yeah.
promise.
Yeah. He was just letting Gail know that Mitch won't be forgotten.
But I thought it was cute. But I was like, I could honestly see Dawson trying to fill that void
Hmm.
because it's not Lily's fault. Um, and then, then Dawson said that he wasn't going anywhere, and Gail said, "You don't have to be so strong and keeping it together." And then Dawson said that he's numb. Like
Right.
that's why he's being the way he is and just holding it together.
Hmm. Besides for the answering machine part.
Yeah, I don't really know if he's numb because I don't know. I just think he's just trying to hold it in. I don't know if it's really being numb. I just feel like he has too much on his plate. Like he basically planned the whole funeral by
Hmm.
himself. So I
Yeah.
feel like he just, and then he has to watch Lily and take care of her, take care of his
Hmm.
mom. So I don't think
Yeah.
he has time to grieve.
Yeah. He's super preoccupied. Preoccupied. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I don't think that he's numb. I just think he doesn't have time to let it out.
Hmm.
And then this is where Pacey has his memory of Mitch teaching him how to drive
Yeah.
because he's in the car. And um and then Pacey said he like wishes his dad was around more. I thought that was weird. I was like, Pacey hates his dad. What?
Well, this must have been a flashback from when he was younger and still trying to prove something to him.
No, it's actually when he turned 16 because um Mitch says, "Well, like you're not the best driver, but it'll get you to pass." Because remember when he failed? I think this was he ended up secretly going to Mitch to help him pass the driving test.
Oh, okay.
And because he said, this will get you to pass. Like you're not the best.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and he said that, and I was like, ah. So that's how Pacey got his license. He went to Mitch, and Mitch got him to pass.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah, okay,
was
that makes
like,
sense. Yeah.
yeah. I was like, but see, that one made sense because we remember Pacey didn't pass the first time.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that he did go to Mitch. But I was like, huh, he did go to Mitch.
Mm-hmm.
Because remember, then all of a sudden he was driving after that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Um, and then, but then it was weird because when we remember season two, we remember how horrible Mr. Witter was.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that Pacey would say he wishes his dad was around more. No, he doesn't. He hated his dad in season two. Remember? His dad always said everything horrible in the book.
Mm-hmm.
I was
Yeah, I
like,
don't know.
so that to me didn't feel right in the
Mm-hmm.
writing because Pacey might say that now that he's kind of made up with his dad, remember in season four,
Mm-hmm.
but I can't see season two Pacey saying this at all.
Right.
Because season two Pacey avoided his family at all costs,
Mm-hmm.
especially his dad.
Yeah.
So why would you want him around more? So he can yell at you more? It's he what would have been better is if he would have said, I wish my dad was like you.
Right. Yeah.
That would have made sense.
Mm-hmm.
But to say you wish he was around more, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, now Dawson could have said, I wish my dad was around more. That makes every sense in the book,
Mm-hmm.
but not this one. And then Pacey goes to see Dawson, and then he asks Dawson how he's doing, and Dawson, he's dead. It still sucks.
Right.
Oh my gosh, Dawson. Um, and then Pacey takes Dawson to the accident scene.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think of that?
Well, I wasn't expecting that entirely.
Me either. I was like, where are they going?
Yeah.
I thought it would be like Pacey's taking him out for like, I don't know, just something that they did as kids, maybe to try to get his mind off of it.
Mm-hmm.
And think you take him to the actual scene.
Right, yeah. Yeah. And you never know how Dawson could have reacted just to seeing that too. So that was a risky move Pacey did. Because like
Well,
Dawson could have been angry with him bringing him there before
well,
he explained.
yeah, but think about it. What does Pacey have to lose? He's not friends with Dawson to begin with.
I don't know, just still it was a big risk. And then I think he
Well,
got that information from Doug too about the crash.
or his dad. His dad's a chief.
Yeah, that too. It just seems like him and Doug are closer, so it makes sense that he would go to him about the information about the
Yeah,
crash.
but didn't him and his dad make up in season four?
I know, but we haven't really seen him, only Doug, so it just seems like
Well,
he's having more contact with Doug than his dad since
mhm.
leaving Cape Side.
um, so I guess the guy's name was Gary Peters, and he was asleep at the wheel.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first time I think that we hear or we actually find out what happened. I mean, we know he crashed, but we didn't
Mm-hmm.
know how until now.
Yeah.
Like now we know that the guy was working late, he was working overtime,
Overtime. Mm-hmm.
and he was asleep at the wheel.
Yeah.
And Pacey says he will have this with him for the rest of his life that he took
Yeah.
away, Mitch Leary,
Mm-hmm.
and that he shouldn't have been driving.
Right. Yeah.
Now, were you surprised, happy, something that they didn't use a drunk driver? That it was somebody working overtime?
Yeah, because usually that's the go-to explanation for these things in shows. Yeah.
And I wonder if they were making a point like people overuse their employees,
Mm-hmm.
like they
Yeah.
work them to death.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder if that was the indication too of like, we're going to throw this in to prove a point to all these companies.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Because I just wonder what was going on in 2001 that they used overtime
Mm-hmm.
for a car accident
Yeah.
instead of anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I do think that I think the reason why Pacey did it is because he knows Dawson,
Yeah.
that he knows what Dawson can handle,
Mm-hmm.
what he'll blow up about. Like he knows him so well as his, you know, old
Friend.
best friend
Yeah.
that he just knows Dawson can handle this. Because
Mm-hmm.
when you said he doesn't know how he'll react, I think Pacey does know how he'll react. So
Mm-hmm.
he's like, he'll be okay with this. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And he needs to, and the other thing is Dawson is kind of like one person that needs to see it
Mm-hmm.
to process. And
Yeah.
I think Pacey, of all people, knew that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's why he also did it too, was you need to get
See it.
this out of your head and see it
Mm-hmm.
for yourself. But
Yeah.
I honestly don't think I would have handled seeing my dad's car accident
Mm-hmm.
because
Yeah.
the skid marks were still there.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, whoa, like, because then in your head, you're picturing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't have probably handled that right, but
Mm-hmm.
Dawson did.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, one thing he
Mm-hmm.
actually handled right.
Yeah. So this was just nice
Um,
that Pacey gave him some closure over one
yeah.
part of his grave at least.
Yeah, and he did say you got your dad for 18 years. That's a hell of a lot what, some people get.
Mm-hmm. Like Lily.
Um, yeah. And then Casey said he'll be there any place, anywhere, anytime, forever. That was
Mm-hmm.
cute.
Yeah.
Joey goes back to college and Audrey tries to help her. And then Joey being selfish. Dawson just didn't want me there.
Oh yeah, then she mentioned that book she gave Dawson too about grieving over a parent, I think. Forgot what the
Have you
title was,
listened?
but
Well, maybe he didn't want a book.
yeah. Oh no, he said he told her that it was like he appreciated it, but I don't think he was ever gonna read it.
No. And
Okay, go
then
ahead.
Gail and Dawson are sitting at dinner, and Gail says, "Honey, we're out of milk.
Hmm.
Can you?" And she starts
Yeah.
crying. Then
Yeah, that was her
yeah.
breakdown.
I was like,
Hmm.
"Ooh, not the right words to say."
Yeah.
And then Dawson actually goes to get milk. What?
Yeah. I was
That
surprised.
night. Again,
Hmm.
you couldn't do it during daylight. You do it at night, just like your father. What?
Yeah.
And then the cashier talks about Mitch, and he said that Mitch called Dawson brave and he was proud of him. Said he was a romantic, like he had a romantic side, and he was proud to know Dawson. And
Yeah.
of course, it made Dawson happy that Mitch thought of Dawson before he died, like that
Hmm.
way. Not that he
Yeah.
was upset,
Yeah.
like Dawson thought. And Dawson then goes to his car to finally cry, like he's finally
Hmm.
letting it out.
Yeah.
But again, he's doing it away from everybody else, which is what he needed.
Hmm.
And then everyone ends up meeting at the restaurant where Pacey works and they eat. Now, do you think Pacey made their food?
Maybe. I don't know.
Because
He's
he
been
was sitting
cooking.
down with them, but yeah, he was cooking right before this. I wonder if he made everyone's meal and then sat down to eat.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
And then the very last scene is Mitch takes a picture of the family with his camera.
Hmm.
And I thought this was weird because, like, the last scene is Mitch and he's
Yeah.
taking everything in.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. I don't know, it just was a little weird.
Well, I took it as like he was just enjoying the last moment with the family before Dawson moved. I think it
And
also could have
nobody's
been like,
gone. Like storyline is gone.
I know, I'm just saying it was like a flashback, but I think it was like a also like a closure for the character too, like as if like he enjoyed his time, like he took it all in and just a closing
But yeah,
door
it was
for
final
him.
moments of Mitch, but I was just
Hmm.
like, all right.
Yeah, I like that part.
Oh. So yeah, that was the end.
Hmm.
So my high was Pacey and Dawson because they weren't fighting and Pacey was just there for him. Like I
Hmm.
just like their scenes.
Yeah.
I think it goes back to season 1,
Hmm.
which is what we need. And I feel like I hope like they can get over Dawson can get over his issues with Pacey.
Hmm.
Because I want more of this. I don't want them to be so distant,
Yeah.
especially when neither one of them are actually with Joey. Time to be
Yeah.
friends now.
Hmm.
So that was my high. My low was Joey just being around too much. What was yours?
The high was for when I lost my place. Okay, yeah, the high was Pacey showing Dawson the scene to give him closure for that, and then the low was when Dawson had his little breakdown and destroyed the answering machine. And then rating?
I would rate this a 7.
Yeah, 7 too.
I mean, it was good, but I don't know. I didn't want to see Mitch die.
Yeah.
Um, and then
Best and
my
worst, yeah. Go
what?
ahead, sorry, go ahead.
You
I was
said
saying best
7?
and worst.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
7.
So my best is gonna be Pacey because he knew what Dawson needed and showed him the scene to try to get Dawson past this of feeling guilty, which is what he needed. Because again, he knows his best friend. Whether you want to call each other friends or not, he knows you more than anyone.
Mm-hmm.
And unlike Pacey, I'm gonna throw the worst to his other best friend, Joey. She annoyed me. She was around too much. She was too, look, what do you need? Like, he just wants to be left alone. He said it how many times? Leave the poor guy alone. He lost his dad. He's not you. Go away, Joey. And then she bothered me when she told Audrey at the end, she was like, he didn't want me there. It's not about you, it's about him.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why she was the worst. Go, what's yours?
The best was Pacey, like, so give him that closure that he needed to know that it wasn't his fault that his dad died. And then the worst is just the guy who killed Mitch.
All right, and then what's the next episode?
Episode 5, use your disillusion.
All right, you guys, thanks for listening.
Yep, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening to this episode of Duo Chat. If you want to chime in with your opinion about the episode and the show we discussed, you can email us at duochatpodcast@gmail.com. And to keep up with updates about the podcast, you can follow us at Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Duo Chat Podcast. And give us a review wherever you listen to podcasts. We would really appreciate it.